Good evening and welcome back to the Mancunian Way, where at the moment I am solo. Oh no, I'm not. Rich is here. I don't know where Allan is. Pat may join us. I know other shows are going on. I know LB at the minute. Every time the Mancunian Way is live, LB wants to go live. Competition. No, I'm only joking. I've had some jokes with LB today. He's trying to monopolise the Manchester City YouTube game. Tell you, little sod. How are you, Rich? By the way, it's only banter. Whoa, Rich's dogs are here.
They're good, obviously. Someone's decided to walk past our house at 6:20 in the morning, and but they're good, and I'm good.
Out your bushes. I don't know where Allan is. Allan's got the link. I don't know where he is. He's never late for the South Stand. He's never late for South Stand, I've noticed. Right. I'm just going to send a couple of links. Couple of people have asked for links. So I will send them. There's a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, the Tijani Reinders info is now out. That is now edging closer. I've had a message that he's done. I've been told done. So hopefully, am I here? Am I not? What's happening here? Allan choosing where the money and the viewers go. Tell you what, it's not true. By the way, if you do want to join us, let us know. But Rich, how the devil are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, it's nice and early in the morning because it's still dark outside. We're getting into the winter, but no, it's been, I think, a bit uplifting the Bournemouth game and put all City fans in a better mood because I think it was one of the best performances of the season. So, I think we're all feeling a bit better about things. But, we've obviously got a very big game coming up on Sunday. A lot of teams, there's 5 teams battling for 3 places. Probably one of the most exciting ends to the season, not for the title and not for relegation, but probably one of the most exciting ends of the season, for that sort of 7th to sort of 3rd area. So I think there's some exciting times and obviously a ton of transfer rumours. And then I think we're going to have to start thinking about, are players like De Bruyne going to leave now and leaving us? And are we going to try and get in some players early because of the Club World Championships? Because, I think, players like De Bruyne, etc., may go before that just to sign the deal. The deals are there on July 1. So, it'd be nice to get at least one of our midfielders in, I think, in the next 3 weeks to try and get, one extra body on that trip. And what a way to join the club and get some pre-season in and everything else for a player.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we're going to kick off with Kevin De Bruyne because I think it's only right. Kevin De Bruyne gets the plaudits. Rick, tell me, wax lyrical about King Kev, the Belgian maestro, one of, if not the greatest ever player to put on a blue shirt. I know you disagree with that, but that's semantics. That's subject. Yeah. Let's nail it down. We are losing. We are saying goodbye to one of not just Manchester City's greats, one of football's greats.
Yeah, no, there's no question he's one of the greatest players the Premier League's seen, one of the greatest players Belgium's seen, one of the greatest players City's seen. Whilst, he has probably for the last 2 seasons not been himself, he's an incredible player. He produces passes like, and assists like we've never seen as a club. He's passionate, he's, devoted, he's an engine room, and he plays some beautiful football. And he's going, and I think I'm glad to see him going with a really good reception, and glad to see him going before a major decline, because I think some of our greats have stayed a season or too long, and we've really seen them decline. And then some of our greats we've had to say goodbye in empty stadia, or stadium with 9,000 people in. So it's actually nice to finally see, you know, a bit like it happened for Vinny, I guess, but see a player leaving at the right time. I think Company did, and I think De Bruyne's doing the same. So there must be something in the water in Belgium that makes people know, when to leave and to do it at the right time. But no, it's going to be sad, and we're going to miss that song, the White Stripes. Our opponents are going to be relieved that they're not going to have to deal with those assists. And
Arsenal will be relieved. Arsenal
yeah,
will be very relieved.
another chapter of another City legend going, and I think we've now got a whole generation of legends. Our legends, we grew up, Martin, where everyone talked in hushed tones about Bellamy and Summerby, and then and some of the players
No,
around them.
whoa. I didn't grow up in Bellamy and Summerby. I'm not that
old. No. I said we grew up when people talked about them in hushed tones. The generation before us, they were the greatest heroes, and some of them a bit older, Bert Troutman, and we've now got our generation of legends, and it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger because we've got the 3 statues, and there's some legends who didn't get statues, and I think now another generation. We had the Silva, Aguero, Company, etc. generation go, and now I think we're seeing De Bruyne, and soon after we'll Gundogan and Bernardo will be going, and we might see some legends like Edison leave as well. So it's emotional time, but let's hope that in their place comes the next generation of legends, and in 10 or 15 years' time, we're saying goodbye to, whether it's Kuzanov or whoever it may be, we're saying goodbye to players who become the new legends and take City, back to, winning the league.
Yeah, by the way, Lee Gates, thank you so much, mate, for your very generous super chat. £10, you are a superstar, mate. And it's lovely meeting you. Hopefully, I'll meet you again at match next season. Fantastic win on Tuesday. Thought everyone played well. Kovacic before the red was outstanding. It was hard to say goodbye to Kev, very emotional. Reinders looks as if it's close. Reinders, I got a text tonight, he's done. Not officially, but he's going to be all and end all. He's going to be a City player. That looks things,
right,
which is good. One in. It seems. I get it, but like I said, we'll come to the Reinders and other stuff because I've got some info as well and others. But Ed, Spartacus, tell us about your memories of the Belgian maestro that is Kevin De Bruyne, King Kev.
Go on, Ed.
Oh, big up everybody! Thanks for having me on, man. Wow, man, KDB, man, it's been. First I just want to say thank you to him, man, because he's given me some of the best memories I've had watching this sport. Some of the passes you just think and wonder, how did he even see that? How did he even thread that ball through? And he really was a magician. Like Pep said, he was probably maybe the best assister after Messi. And to be up there with those caliber players shows the qualities he has. And, a lot of people already thought he was going to stay here this long. But it just shows the character of him, the character of wanting to win this club his first UCL. And you saw what happened after we won that UCL. Pep appreciated him, even though he couldn't play or was hurt. He was a main contributor getting us to that point. And words can't describe what he's meant to City. And all you can do is wish him the best. It looks like it's probably going to be Napoli. if I was the guest right now, and you just wish him the best, and hopefully he can carry on being that caliber player for Napoli. You can only say positive when it comes to KDB. He wasn't out partying. He was a pure professional of the game, and you saw that displayed every single time he stepped on the pitch. And wow, man, just wow.
What's this? Pep
Yeah.
isn't going. You said, yeah, Pep isn't going. I agree. Pep's not
Now,
going.
someone said Pep is going to leave if we have a squad of.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying Pep's not going.
Yeah, it's not. KDB, the City goal, just like I told you all years back. Listen, I'm still up there with David Silva. Elliot, you're not getting me off me, David. Elmer, go.
Martin, you flip, Martin. One day, KDB.
No, I didn't.
You did have a change of heart.
I'm putting them together.
Nah, you cannot be sitting on the
Wow,
fence.
that's a cop out. That's a cop out, man.
Yep.
They're together.
No, it's not sitting on the fence on this one.
You like asking me who's my favourite child?
Martin, just stay in the David Silva camp. David Silva will never be touched in this generation.
Come on, Unc.
I'll
Stay
stick
with
with
Silva,
David
man.
Silva as
Stay
well.
with Silva, Unc.
He was a work of art.
Calling Unc. Cheeky bastard calling me an Unc. Well, even Elliot's coming after me now. Piss off, he changed the other night. Listen, I'm doing both. I'm sitting on both.
And Elliot, he's back in the John Stones camp too, so.
Who are you calling a clown? You, cheeky sod. The Martin agenda. I don't have any agendas. Come on, Martin. We all know David White is the GOAT. Michelle Vonk.
Not as a centre
My
forward.
dad called him Vonk the Bonk. Hey, listen. But go on. Yeah, I mean, Ed, KDB for you. Great. By the way, is anyone putting him in the greatest ever Premier League player? Let's take City
I would.
Look there as one of the greatest ever Premier League players.
For sure, the best midfielder. Maybe
I would say
the
the
best.
best midfielder too.
Maybe the best ever. I think it's between him and Henry, isn't it?
Him and Henry.
Yeah. If you, I mean, but if regarding what I've seen, he's right there with Henry. I mean, 6'6" trim, 1 Champions League,
A treble.
The treble, 4-peat.
Anton Sibierska. Spartacus wasn't a City fan back then. He won't know who that is.
Nah, Antoine Sibierski was not as good as Laurent Charvet.
I wasn't born, so don't blame me.
Lawrence Charvet.
Yeah, I was about to
If
say.
we're gonna have the Charvet Sibierski debate, I'm on Team Charvet.
Yeah, by the way, Ozzy's not here because Ozzy's not too well at the moment. So big up Ozzy. Hope you feel better soon, mate. Fees at a party. So she's got her glad rags on and gone out tonight. Allan's in bed. I've had a message. He is on his way. He's in bed.
I told you, it's 10 past 6.
I'm telling you, if we were another channel, he'd have been here on time and ready. We need to start giving out some forfeits here, Rich, for lateness. It's not on the moment.
He hasn't paid me for the bet when City made the Champions League in 2017 yet. So he's not going to pay forfeits, is he?
When Allan gets here, everyone, I'm going to whisper this. He had a bet with me that City won't make the Champions League this year. So we had a £50 bet. Now, I just want to make sure you've got to put in the chat when Allan arrives, you owe Martin 50 quid. It is going to go. I'm going to give it to the Alzheimer's, the Dementia Society.
Martin, he's not going to pay. I had a bet with him. Me and Ross had a bet with him in 2017. He had to get a grade 2 haircut if City qualified for the Champions League. We bet he wouldn't. He didn't pay that. The season after, he bet we wouldn't get in the Champions League. I bet him, $50. Has he paid me? No. So he's not paying you if he hasn't paid me for 8 and 7 years on 2 bets. Why is he going to pay
Rich,
you?
you might not recover from that haircut, Rich.
Yeah, I think he looked
He might
beautiful
not
with the bet. He had a bet. That one wasn't just with me. That was with Ross as well, and it was in front, on the whole Melbourne supporters club. So he doesn't pay. He's not a man who pays his bets.
We're going to have 6 on here soon. So I'm no longer on my own. Let Elliot cook. Yeah, I have said. Hello, Rose. How the devil are you? Hope you are good. Hope you have a lovely evening. And all is well with you. A couple of things I just want to get out. Michael Fina, I apologise I couldn't speak to you today, but lovely to hear the messages about yourself. Foggy, big up to you as well. I love hearing some brilliant news from our community, our family. Love hearing about it. It's amazing when I hear such good news about people's families, the personal lives, that things are going much better. So much love to Michael Feeney, much love to the legend that is Foggy, and other people as well who I spoke to. Pat, by the way, says a massive thank you to everyone for the lovely messages that have been sent. They haven't gone unnoticed. This will be the last Thursday night chat for 2 weeks. We're taking a 9-day sabbatical after tomorrow. There is a show tomorrow, but we are taking a 9-day sabbatical after tomorrow while I go and get a little bit of Tenerife sunshine. I get my suntan on. Hey, by the way, breaking news, I've gone down a T-shirt size, which I'm very happy about.
Good stuff.
I'm down a T-shirt size. I like this. I like this diet stuff. Sorry, my internet is playing up today. Please do not worry about it. Is Allan a tight wad then, Rich?
Well, I wouldn't say he is a tight wad. He just doesn't pay bets.
He's a tight wad.
He buys a beer. He'll buy you breakfast, but he'll buy you dinner. But will he buy you pay a bet?
Hey, listen, he does super chats on every channel, but his own.
That's true, actually. He does.
He super chats every other City channel, but his own channel.
Martin, I remember the night he did about £60 of super chats on this channel because you didn't let him on, and he wanted to give an opinion about how crap some player was, and he put about 60 quid through this channel just so he could say Nunes. I don't think it was. It was probably his pre-Nunes hate.
You guys are the kings. They're not kings. You guys are the king. But
I do want to give a shout out to was it our 18U side that won their the final today? Champions.
Oh yeah, they won 2-0. Mukasa scored.
Shout out to them. More money. So yeah.
I mean,
by the way,
Mukasa's going to go for a little.
Up to you. I know you've had a bit of. You're going through it in a minute. It's so good to hear you're getting on the mend as well, Steve. Thank you. I'm saying these and we'll get back into the chat. Congrats, Martin, looking good. I'm trying, getting that beach bod. Because I want to go on a beach and not having to be tried to be chucked into the water. Because they think there's an escape for whales, you know what I mean? I go on a beach normally, the lifeguards are thinking there's a whale, needs to go back in. So I just want to look normal. Well done, Martin. I need to look not mate. Everyone's good as they are. I know it is. Even digressing. You're digressing. Looking forward to Fulham away. I'm not going to Fulham away. Safe trip to. Are you going down there, Nick? You going down there? Big up to yourself. James McAtee's open. Yeah. Apparently, there's been a bit of a breakdown, sadly, between McAtee and
Pep.
It seems. Big up Chroma Base, £41. That is huge, mate. That's getting onto 4 stone, buddy. Massive big up to you, Chroma Base. W's in the chat for Chroma Base. Bobby McDonald, Martin, keep up the hula hooping. I wish. He's going to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. Jerry Gow. Look at all these legends here, Rich. You'll remember all these.
Just.
Bert Troutman, Rich.
Yeah, me and Bert. Like that.
Yeah, big up to the youngsters. You'll never get an opportunity ever again. Butlins.
Yeah.
Butlins. I wouldn't give Butlins any money.
No, I think I only saw the very tail end. Corrigan, Paul Power. you know, the very tail end of that sort of team of the 70s.
Mine, not at Fulham, we have a chance. You know, my away record is not as bad.
Yeah, well, Southampton and Palace say different. That's all I'm saying.
Good evening, Elliot. How are you?
You flip-flop.
You know what? I knew that was the only reason he's come on here.
You absolute flip-flop.
What? Why?
You know exactly why. Tell Rich. Go on, tell Rich. Go on, tell Rich what you said.
I said the other night, because I was very emotional after the game on Tuesday.
Very drunk.
Very emotional. Listen, I was crying. My young lad, my 14-year-old lad was crying on Tuesday. He was crying. And you know what, by the way, my 14-year-old lad cried when Leroy Sané came on the screen. Weirdly.
Hey, listen.
It wasn't
Listen, I hear it, man. I hear it.
But anyway, I said on Tuesday that I actually said KDB was the greatest ever City player.
And what you saying tonight?
So I haven't flip-flopped. He's still there. I'm just putting him on. Can I not just have him at the same level?
Martin is on the fence.
Can I not?
Sitting straight up on the fence.
Favorite child.
That's poor from you, my man.
It's not poor.
I'll pick David Silva myself. KDB second.
Big up winner. Oh, FIFA, by the way, thank you so much, mate. They need to see that. Big up, gifting 5 channel memberships. If you have got one, W's in the chat for FIFA. Top guy. A lot of love reading his posts. Massive component and supporter of this channel from day one. Really appreciate it, mate. You are a top guy. That's because you stood on your lad's foot, Martin. Yeah. I broke it. But yeah, Elliot, you go on. You can wax lyrical about the legend that is KDB.
That is just the one in it, fan for me. It's just the one, I think. Like you say, I think a lot of people will probably class him as the greatest ever for me, and I would probably agree with that. Very different to people like David Silva. Very, very different. But in a different way, I think it's probably the best different we could have got from like a David Silva. I think the way he played, even said in the interview, didn't he, to be fair, Martin, about how he was allowed to play with like freedom.
Yeah, that interview, by the way, was a massive thing. I love that interview.
Yeah, we're good.
Which one?
We're good.
Yeah, I mean, question to the panel. Will we ever see a midfielder like that ever again in the Premier League? I know ever again is massive. Yeah. Oh, is football changing too much to have that? Because when I look through the teams now even around Europe, not many are playing with 10.
But Martin, he isn't a 10 either. He's more of an 8 box-to-box. He played 10 for a couple of seasons, but most of the time he was playing as a box-to-box. I just think the level of talent that KDB has is kind of like a Gerrard, Lampard, Kaká, Ronaldinho. These are the types of players that are literally one of a kind, and they're never going to see it again.
Yeah, I think his passing for me is the best I've probably seen live on a consistent basis. We have had some good passes, to be fair. I said David Silva were pretty good in small spaces.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, Elliot. I don't think David Silva could do a 50-yard ball from side to side.
Yeah. I mean, the one that always stands out for me, people always say, what's your best memory? The one for me was when the Stoke went to Sané. That would just...
Ooh, better than the Gundogan at Villa one?
Yeah, because I think the way... Obviously, that's a better moment. I'm not disputing that, because obviously the importance of it.
Are you whispering, Elliot, mate?
No, I shouldn't be whispering. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah. I thought you were whispering.
No,
we
it's
had
not
the
better.
SMR for a second.
Yeah, much better, mate.
Yeah, very different. But obviously, more important one was the Villa one. But yeah, the Stoke one for me stood out, and also I was to the Chelsea goal away from home. I think that was obviously the one. Yeah, that was probably the game where I think, like I said, I think we knew we were going to win the league from that. And another special moment, which was pretty recent, was the Newcastle away win with Oscar Bob. Obviously, the way he come on and changed that game. It were pretty good, to be fair. It was one of the best probably cameo performances I've ever seen.
Do you know one of the greatest moments I saw from them? And it wasn't even a game as in an important game. It was more the skill and the goal. Remember, again, back at Newcastle, about 4 years ago, we got a 2-2. And he hit one off the underside of the bar. But we're down at where we were, up in the gods. That ball control and that strike from
that Newcastle.
Yeah. When he hits off the underside of the bar.
Yeah. Sort of took it down and then smashed. Yeah, sort of took it down and smashed it. Yeah.
By the way, if you go back down the years, we've scored some belters at St James's Park. From Ferran Torres' scorpion kick to KDB, we've scored some. Yaya's curler, we've scored some belters at St James's Park.
The David Silva goal's iconic, Martin, at Blackpool. I think that's a pretty iconic goal, what he scored, to be fair. Thinking like David Silva. That way stands out for me. I don't know, like I said, we've scored some pretty good goals. I mean, Sergio's debut were pretty decent, weren't it? When you look back at people.
That was a 2-yard tapping.
No, I mean the actual debut, his actual full performance.
Oh yeah, his debut, when he came off against Bournemouth. When he came on against Bournemouth.
You know, one thing I think for Kev, and I thought it's like City's own version of Messi and Ronaldo in a sense with Kevin David Silva.
Yeah, well done, Rich.
David Silva to me, like Messi, he looked like he was born with that talent. And I know David Silva worked hard, he trained hard, he lived a good football life, but it just looked like everything was completely just built into him. Whereas Ronaldo and Kev looked like players who worked and thought about the game and trained, and they really got themselves to where they got through incredible mental strength and incredible hard physical work, etc. And so I've always looked at it like that. Silva, easy on the eye. It looked like he was born able to do it. It just didn't look like it was just natural. Whereas I really think Kev made himself what he became. He made himself one of the best players in the world through that hard work. And I do think that it is our version of Messi, Ronaldo with those two. And we know that argument that, there's a big chunk of the world in Team Messi, a big chunk in Team Ronaldo. And I think that'll be the case for City fans. There'll be the David Silva camp who just can't see beyond the beauty of his football. But then there'll be people who look at the stats, look at the goals, look at the assists, and, they're in Camp De Bruyne.
I'll tell you what, we're pretty interesting, Rich. I don't know whether any of you have seen it. Khaldun, obviously showing him his new memorial kind of thing at their training ground, and Khaldun actually says the best, in his opinion, the best ever actual City player. Pretty big thing to say. Like you say, I'm not like say when you just said them, Rich is spot on. The players we've had. And I know Martin said this yesterday, we have been spoiled. But it just shows for someone like Khaldun to say that, how important he must have actually been, not just on the pitch, but also off the pitch. The way he carried us in that treble season with his hamstring hanging off. Special player.
I must admit, I don't know how Khaldun does it, because he's meeting Trump for 3 days 1 minute, and then he's at City, and then he's out doing deals in China, and then he's at City. Like, I know he's got a private jet, but I don't think the guy sleeps.
No, he does not.
By the way, don't forget, Alan is a hashtag Pale Palin in the chat. Good evening, Alan. It's nice that you've made it to your own channel. He's been doing the rounds. We've put him on loan for a week. He's been around every other channel but his own for the last week.
I know they've been doing it in the evening over here.
He failed the fitness test.
But I woke up this morning. I think
Online, that's a polite way to say whore yourself out.
Like that. We're trying to sell you on. That's why we've let you go on loan for 2 weeks.
We're acknowledging your transfer request, Alan.
Look at this. Hashtag Pale Palin. Pale Palin. Where's your 50 quid, Alan? Martin, where's Alan's 50 quid?
What's that for?
You know exactly what it's for.
I don't. You better tell me.
I would bet on the Champions League.
I bet on the 2018.
Well, hang on. We still need a point, if you remember.
Okay,
we still need a point.
Are we making it? He went, yeah.
Yeah, we are. Well, listen, we are. Because if we lose and all the other teams win, then we don't make it.
Fair enough.
Alan,
It's true.
You know when
It's
you
true.
came out your mum, did you go out your mum going, it's bloody dark in there, you know. Dark in there. Put me back. Doom and gloom, you.
As always, Alan, spot on.
That's just
Alan
true.
Alan did make an interesting point a few hours ago against on Daps's show, where he said he prefers when he goes back to Manchester, which is once every 15 years, that he prefers every day to be cloudy and miserable. That's more representative of the man himself rather than the actual climate of Greater Manchester.
Yeah, I said, when I come to land at Manchester Airport, I want it to be grey,
Bloody miserable.
drizzle, because that's how I remember it. I don't remember any other way.
Do you know what, Alan?
So what do you say? So what do you say when you get off the plane? When you get off the plane, you look up at the sky and see the sun, and you go, "You're shit."
Yeah,
Good job you've not been here recently, then.
I go,
Drone driver.
I always think, oh, this is not Manchester. Where am I?
Jeez, he's slagging off the sunshine.
Alex, a good job you've not been here recently, then.
From League
I know.
Games.
Apparently, it's been nice.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Did-
Again, you've already put £10 in. You're throwing another £5. Thank you so much, mate. You don't need to keep doing it. You know we're not super chats only here. We put every comment out on screen. You know that. But thank you. It really is from the bottom of our heart. Appreciated. Martin, I have to ask, what did you make of Rodri's reception when he came on? I think there's a promising partnership there with Nico J and him.
Great super chat. That's a great super chat, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a very good super chat, that, by the way.
I actually
very good.
thought Rodri's reception was louder than KDB's, which was a bit sad, really.
Oof, yeah.
I was a bit upset by it, if I'm honest.
I said on Wednesday, Martin. I said when he warmed up, that was one of the loudest receptions I've heard.
Yeah, it was.
We've seen this team this season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I
Middle
think that
without
was
him.
the outpouring of thank God. Thank God. That
Yeah,
was
I
like
know.
an outpouring of 9 months of emotion of
Bent up frustration.
he's back. The brighter days are coming again.
And they've arrived just in time with one match left in the season.
But I've got to say, it wasn't as bad as this guy's face last night. Whoops! Who's that?
Oh,
By the way,
mate.
does anyone think he's morphing into David Gill? He's starting to look like David Gill, innit? When you look at him like that.
Oh, mate. Yeah, but it
Oh,
was,
sorry, I don't know where that
it was
came
brilliant.
from.
It was
That was
so,
like Allan
so
when
funny.
that looks like Allan when he sees Nunes. It's starting to line up that.
Looks like
No. That's Alan.
it looks like Alan in about 5 years' time.
I don't know.
You know when
Looks
City's
like
in,
it.
that's Alan.
Looks like a fat Sid Little.
Wow.
Cheers, Rich.
That's taking you back, isn't it?
That's a great point. Alan is the Mancunian ways reverse tie.
Oh, mate. How funny was that? How funny was United getting beat yesterday? Oh, it was so funny.
Oh, hilarious.
I've got to say that was like a League One game. I
It-
thought that was a
absolutely.
League One playoff final at Wembley.
Yeah, it was terrible, wasn't
It's
it? It was like
atrocious.
watching Colchester against Bury.
I think
It's
you're giving
horrendous.
Derry and Colchester a lot of praise there, Alan. I think you're
Oh,
underestimating.
Yeah, we got two fan
That's-
bases coming
that's
after us,
what-
Alan.
that's
I
what-
think you've
that's
already
what-
done enough for our channel.
I spoke to my mate up who went to the game in Bilbao, as United fan, the two of them, and I was just going, oh dear, to them, and they were just going, did you win anything? Did you win anything? Honestly, you should have heard them on the phone. Oh God, I was going.
Postecoglou was right.
Yeah, he was.
He was winning his second year.
Yeah,
That's one of the
That's
greatest quotes of all
That's the
time.
wisdom of Australian managers.
Yeah.
And that's where
He's
football,
still a bit of a wanker,
that's where
though.
football's been
He's
missing
still
for
a
so many
bit of
years.
a wanker.
It was the funniest thing about that comment, though, is that everyone thought he was joking and he was being really arsey and really serious. I'm going to
When
win.
he's not been arsey.
And
When has Postecoglou ever not been arsey this year in a press conference?
Well, they have
Fair
been
enough.
giving him shit. They have been giving
Yeah.
him shit.
They've been- no,
He's-
Mark,
he's-
to be honest, yes, they've been giving him crap. And number two, he just came from Celtic, where the media is even more ruthless than what they are in England.
Yeah, but he won most of the.
When you
things
think
in
about it,
Celtic.
before that, sorry to cut you off, Spartacus, too, but he did just come from Japan as well, too, where Japan is super respectful as well. So to go from that, they go to Scotland, where suddenly they're all on you for every move you make. Like, yeah, I don't think the guy's a prick. I just think he's got a super thick skin. He just won't
Tells you how
take crap.
bad
He just
the
won't
rest
take
of the-
crap from anyone. Yeah,
How bad's the rest of Europe that those two made the final?
Oh no, that's
I think it's
exactly
all
right,
Champions
Martin.
League.
That says something for the rest of Europe, you know.
Exactly.
Martin,
That's
Champions
shit.
League.
United,
Yeah.
United scammed their way into the final. They had I think Bilbao had a red card that was never a red, and there wasn't even a penalty, let alone a red. And then the Lyon game, they just scammed their way through it.
Didn't the previous three legs before the three rounds that they played? I think they had all three. There was at least the opposition had a red card or something.
Yes,
Yes.
And that's
they
what,
did.
that's what happens.
So that's a
what
huge
happens
that's a
in
huge
football.
benefit to them. But to still barely scrape through to the final and then do that is more on them than the opposition, to be honest.
But
Well,
against
It's just
Lyon,
what Real Madrid do that every year, except they normally win when they get to the final.
Yeah.
The
I
amount
mean-
of finals Real Madrid got into where they were not in the top 5 best teams until the final, and they somehow jagged it there, and then they usually lift in the final and play well in the final. But that's football, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
but they lost. So Matt,
Rich, am I right in saying the last time I think Real Madrid lost a final in a European competition was probably back in the 80s against Fergie's Aberdeen?
I feel like
They played Aberdeen. I think
No,
it was
they
in the
lost it against
UEFA Cup
Barcelona.
final. Can't remember which
They lost
which
it.
year
They
it was.
played
It was definitely
Barca.
the 80s.
they lost against Barca twice, I think.
Yeah, I think they played Barca.
I don't know. But I've gone back.
By the way,
It's hard
couple of
it's hard to
things.
remember. They all
Yeah.
merge
I
into
just
together.
want to give up on this.
It's more on you than on me if I remember that.
Phil Foden has given an interview. I don't know if anyone's read it or seen it, but he has been very open and honest. I will just read it to you, some of the things. He said he spoke, apparently it's an emotional chat with reporters. Foden spoke honestly about his personal frustrations this year. Some things are bigger than football, which I've always said. Having led City to the 4th league title, a flurry of goals, and he goes on to say, it's been a frustrating season for me. I've had a lot of things going on off the pitch mentally. He said it's one of them. Sometimes there are things in life that are much bigger than football. This season I've struggled a little bit. Hopefully come back next year and get my head mentally right, get back to where I left the season before, because I know what I'm capable of doing. I know if everything was okay, I'd definitely be better on the field. Sometimes things happen and you have to deal with it and move on. Fortunately, I've had a difficult season. Now it's just about improving and getting back to my best. I know my standards and what I can reach, and I'm looking forward to getting back to them. He said, persistent injuries. He said, I somehow managed to play on with my ligaments done against United. So there's some information no one knew. He'd done his ligaments against United. That's the kind of person I am. I try and play on with anything. I remember how much pain I felt when the adrenaline died down I miss the next game or two, come back to training quite early. A lot of people don't know what footballers have to go through and play with. I've had a lot of ankle pain playing with it in the last couple of months. Some people don't see what we go through. Frustrating for me. I know it's been hard to get it right. You need time for it to heal. But for being me, I just love to come back and get on the pitch. Maybe I've come back too early, but it's what I'm like. All I can say is I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm going to push forward. I just need a few weeks off without playing football for it to heal. And obviously, yeah, I can't get it at the moment. It's frustrating to play with niggles. It's getting better and stronger. And he said it's been a difficult situation. And like he said, but I think that the biggest turn away from that is even he said some things are more important than football. So yeah, Phil Foden's been open and honest. I didn't know about the ligament stuff. So yeah, I think people, I think Kevin De Bruyne mentioned it as well this week. I think I've seen a few plays, I've some digs at social media this week, which tells you all you need to know. These players do read what gets said on social media. You do see what
to be fair, the amount of abuse they got. It's more than fair for them to clap back a little bit, isn't it? They got so much abuse out of the fan base.
Yeah, yeah. We wish him all the best.
He was the boxer, ex-footballer. He was getting abuse on social media and drove down from like Sheffield to Birmingham, found the street the guy was living on, and the guy was tweeting him abuse, and he said, "I'm outside your house." And then the guy suddenly and he came out and he's apologising and crying and begging to, not be. Was it Curtis Woodhouse? Someone like that was hilarious. It's about a few more trolls need to be just humiliated a bit because it's just pathetic.
Before you said Birmingham, I assumed it was Allan.
Premier League 2 champions, City have beaten Southampton 2-0 tonight. With goals from Mabamba and Muir, both on the score sheet. There was Brick, Samuel, Maxwell, Simpson Puza, Buffoni, Gray, Hesker, Henderson Hall, Okeke, Muir, Mabamba, McCasker, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that other guy's name, so don't kill me for that one. The other news is that City's assistant has been targeted as Guardiola faces more changes to his backroom staff. It looks like Carlos Vicens is going to become the new manager of Braga.
Yeah, good.
So there you go with that one.
And who are we going to use?
In the offing?
Are we getting, do you think, someone like Ferner in as an assistant?
I've heard the offer's there for Ferner. It's whether Fernandinho wants to end. Who's he contracted with at the minute? Does anyone know?
Nobody.
No, so his contract's done with Paranenses at Spartak.
Yes.
Okay.
They finished the contract. Yeah, it is. They agreed to terminate the contract.
Right,
because of relegation, that's right.
Yeah, they got relegated too.
Daz, thank you very much for the £5. Pay up, Allan, you're fraud. And Spartacus Elliott are on Fraud Watch 2. So Alex Ferguson looks like a trans Mrs. Brown Boys. Wow. Like the stream, or Reinders won't come. Yeah, I did get a text tonight.
Don't be calling me a fraud, man.
What have I done?
These Daz who's called you frauds. So yeah, it looks like Tajani Reinders is going to happen. Before we move on,
is it 98?
The bit I want to say, I'm going to ask you this individually because I think, what is your favourite KDB moment?
For myself,
what is your favourite all-time KDB moment?
Toss-up for me between the Wolves game when he got 4, and when he came back against Newcastle and completely destroyed Newcastle.
Last season's Newcastle.
Yeah, when he did last 20 minutes.
Collapsed with the past. That was fair.
Brilliant.
Pat?
Yeah, Newcastle game's a shout, but before that, I'd still probably have to say the pass for the Leroy Sané goal against Stoke.
Yeah, that was good.
In the 7-2 game.
That's where Elliot's come from.
To me, that was KDB's version of David Silva's pass to Edin Dzeko in the 6-1.
Elliot, are you sticking with your Leroy Sané pass?
Sané or the Villa assist to Gundogan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shout.
It's got to be one of them.
I don't know if that's
Yeah, I would probably be the Sunday one or the most recent one. I would probably say is when he had that pass into the net versus Arsenal when they were trying to think they're top dogs and they were trying to say how they're going to win the league, and KDB humbled them.
Sparkus?
For myself was just a random game. It was, I think, against Crystal Palace, 18-19 season, I think it was, where I got my grandfather to watch football again. And because of KDB, he started watching football again, literally because of him. So, yeah, that's probably my best memory of him.
I mean, Salah scored the 4 goals against Wolves. That Wolves game, like Allan said, was pretty special as well. So you're making me well up again. I'm actually getting emotional talking about this again.
Yeah, so am I, to be honest.
Do you know what? Balls to it. I'm getting the ticket back off my brother. I'm going.
We're gonna
lose.
There goes. Yep, Conference League. Yeah, wrap it up.
Conference League
Martin,
football.
I'll see you in Albania in 6 months. Yeah, no worries.
Could you imagine if I send Allan a picture of me in Craven Cottage on Sunday at 5 to 4? He'll go mad. Hi, Allan. Guess where I am?
We need to AI this.
No, and I think Martin, for me, my greatest De Bruyne moment was one I saw in person. It was Centurion season, and just after we should have won the league in a horrible game against a team that won't be mentioned except to laugh at, we went down to Wembley and played Spurs. I think it was the biggest crowd, 80-odd thousand crowd, in the away end, and we won 3-1. We were absolutely magnificent, and De Bruyne ran the show. And it was the game that, West Brom winning at Old Trafford won us the league, but it was really the game that won us the league, got us back on track after a terrible week, and De Bruyne ran the show. I'm trying to remember who scored the goals. I think Jesus and Sterling scored. Maybe was it Gundo or De Bruyne got the other one? Can't remember, but he was just absolutely magnificent, and it was, it silenced the crowd. And honestly, people talk about empty stands at City, but there was about 30,000 left in the ground, Spurs fans, when the final whistle went. It was amazing. De Bruyne silenced 80,000.
Is that the best you saw of him live, Rich?
Yeah, but he was just brilliant.
Because for me, it was the free kick
really
against Barcelona in Pep's first season. That was I was at that game, and that was one that stood out for me. Yeah,
it was more the whole game than an individual moment. It was just De Bruyne at his best, running the game, the legs, and just seeing City, that City at their Centurion best, winning a game, biggest crowd will play against just about, because it's not often you play in front of 80,000 home fans all against you, and it was just sensational. Brilliant evening. And then he almost did a lap of honour at the end.
Another one that stood out for me too was the goal against PSG. Goal against PSG in his first season. Because I think that was like we'd seen small glimpses that season of just how damn good he was going to be. But then to see him score that goal that clinched us into the semi-finals, it was not only did it also realised that, like, yeah, we've got a damn good player in our hands too. But I think it was, that was sort of the catalyst for basically saying that, basically from then on, we knew that we could start competing at this level. We were certainly a few pieces short of being able to compete in that competition, but at least we knew that, like, it was sort of like the sort of start of, like, we have arrived in terms of being a force in terms of competing in Europe year in, year out. So that was a big one for me, not just because of the goal itself, but you knew what it basically meant for the club going forward.
Well, what's LB talking about, Alan?
I'm not seeing anything. What's he saying?
I don't know, because you've been on your phone looking down for 10 minutes.
No, I've got a mate. I've got a mate. I've got a thing on WhatsApp about George Best. Yeah, I'll show you. You can have a look.
Don't show us, mate. I was only joking, man.
Yo, Allan, I got a question for you, man. Allan, I got a question, man. How?
It's George Best to be read. You can read that.
It took him 10 minutes to read that.
My eyes I'm getting old.
I was checking my bank account. I thought he'd be on the bank paying me. Having been nationally shamed, he's ordered himself a pair of clippers and sent me the money. But
it was good.
But Allan, how much of a chance you got us going through to the UCL, man? Because I know you were worried about last game and stuff. What do you give us?
Mate, we need a point, mate. We've got to. To me, we should go.
Well, let's move into it then. Seeing as let's talk about it then. Fulham away. Is anyone
going to be easy?
Which is Alan's polite way of saying, "We're shit. We're going to lose. We're going to be in the Conference League."
Allan, we've not lost there since 2005.
Yeah. Don't say things like that. That's
I knew someone was going to say that.
That's going to be clipped.
That's
going to be.
That's how it happens when you don't go there.
Yeah. I told you, Martin.
So you did the right thing by not attending. Now you just mentioned that to just sign your own fate. Yeah, seal your own.
Martin, don't go, Martin. I mean it.
Okay, Allan is like proper, like worried, like.
Drinking Coke Zero at 7:15 in the morning. What the hell?
Mate, don't go. Watch it.
Alan, what did I tell you last week?
I'm from Martin.
Yeah. Don't go. And while you're there too, Martin, make sure you're in before sundown as well.
It's all right. I'll sort it out for his
block.
Not too many sweets, you'll ruin your dinner.
Someone go round to Martin's house and let his ties down.
And board up his front door with him inside.
Martin, I want to see you in a watch along.
Martin, did I not tell you on this show last week you're sat in block 111 Nelson that City were doomed and it came true? You got your Nelson ticket and City lost.
I can't believe I'm getting banned.
No, Martin, do a watch along on the Mancunian way and you'll get a message from Allan saying, "Where are you doing that fucking watch along?"
Can't believe you're all banning me.
You're not going. I'm telling you, I'm going to ring you on Sunday.
You're going to do jack shit. You're the other side of the world, sunshine.
He's going back to Manchester.
If you're on the M6 or the M1, I want to go mad.
Martin, if you go to the game,
don't you dare go.
No, you'll be going down the street to check on your mum and daddy. You'll be like, "Where are you going?"
I think Fulham. You said I'm one of them. I think Fulham will be on the beach. They've literally got an out to play for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a chill.
1 point, not just to get top 5, to secure 3rd place.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually won more games than Arsenal, believe it or not.
And scored more goals, I think.
Scored more goals.
But they've got super duper Mick. Nobody can do it better.
Listen, I am really. By the way, is anyone? One thing I do think we need to do on Sunday is not piss about with the team. Núñez has to stay right wing back. I'm sorry, Allan, but he does.
Gonzalez has to play.
Núñez has got to start left wing back.
Gonzalez
I
has
don't
to play.
mind. I don't mind him switching a Kanji out for
Left
O'Reilly.
wing
You know,
back.
I don't mind that.
Left wing back? Do you mean right wing back?
He does,
Yes,
yeah.
right wing back. Now Kovacic is out. Here's a question.
Nico has to play. There's no.
I was going to
Yeah.
say Nico. Do you think he's tempted to chuck him in? And
It
you know
better
who I
not be.
mean.
What, Rodri? Not
No.
to start. Not to
No,
start.
he can't do that. He can't. No, it's going to be Nico.
I think I'll make a change to that line, by the way.
I can't
what
see
do you
Rodri
think,
getting more than
Elliot?
30 minutes.
Cushion off.
No, I think he might start Ake on Sunday.
Okay.
Centre back or left back.
Centre
If the
back.
game goes the way we want it to, let's say 3-0 up with 30 minutes to play, then you'll probably see him, make 5 substitutions.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot of,
You know,
I think we'll see a lot of that
Yeah.
squad get a run out.
Yeah.
One
Pat,
to get a
okay.
run out because it's the last
Pat,
game of the season.
Pat.
But number 2, a little bit of match fitness, before the 3 weeks of having trained for Club World
Pat.
Cup as well too.
Pat,
So-
I don't think we'll see that. We'll only see that if we're losing 2 or 3-0. We're not going to see that. It's going to be a really tight game. And I tell you, I think after 80 minutes, we won't be in a Champions League place. I think we'll make it, and I think we'll make it right at the end. I think it's going to be really tight. And I think the idea that we're going to somehow cruise through a game and make 5 subs is like thinking we were going to win the FA Cup 5-0. I don't think we're at that level this season. I think Fulham, I don't really see on the beach thing can make some teams play better than when they're under pressure. Fulham home fans, nice afternoon. They'll want to leave them with a win, and they're not a bad side. And I think we need to show them respect, and I think we need to accept that Sunday could get a bit. I think there's going to be a lot of text from Allan to Martin during the game. We've blown it. We're out. Everything's a disaster. I think Martin will have the last laugh and we'll get through. But
No, Rich. I'm not.
let's not pretend this is easy.
Rich. I'll give you a rundown of Tuesday.
Yeah.
Go 2-0 up. Allan's quiet as a mouse. Nothing. He doesn't send a thing to me. Then we get, then the red card, second half, red card. Allan then says, we're going to fuck this up. What are we doing? What the hell is this? Sloppy as hell. Blah, 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 blah. It was blowing up. We then go 3-0 up. Not a sound again. He goes quiet as a mouse. Nothing at 3-0. Nunes gives away that goal. Fucking shit. I told you, tram driver, blah, blah. It was all coming back out. I'm like, this guy only messages you when there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And you could be 5-0 up and Allan's message you going, load of shit, what are we doing here? They've had a chance. They've hit the post. They've had a shot. What's he doing?
Allan just follows the mentality. Allan just follows the mentality of the UK. Yeah, man. Allan just follows the mentality of the UK media. If we win 5-0, they won't talk about how good we are. They'll talk about how shit the other team was.
Oh yeah, he does that a lot.
In the same way he does too. Won't talk about how good we are. He'll wait for the shit moments.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Like the 6-1 at Old Trafford. He said, "Yeah, but we fucking conceded one."
Go on, Elliot.
I just think, can I play devil's advocate on this a little bit? I know you're saying, and people saying they might be on the beach. Is that could that not be a little bit more concerning?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Well, because if they're on the beach, then they're going to play with freedom, aren't they? And if they play with freedom and ultimately we're not on us day, then we're going to have a problem.
I disagree because I think when you're on the beaches, you don't give that 10% extra.
Spartacus,
when you're
Southampton weren't only on the beach; they were sipping.
Yeah.
They were sipping pina coladas.
No, Rich.
And
they were not on the beach, Rich.
We're not.
They're more on the beach than Fulham.
They were fighting for their lives not to be the worst team of all time in the Premier League.
It doesn't.
I don't
It doesn't
think
matter
that's
though,
anything.
Spartacus. Yeah, spot on, Rich. Spot on, Rich. They wrote it down, Rich, so people can say that about
Yeah.
them, but
No,
they're
they
already going
don't
down
play,
anyway.
But they
So
don't want to be the worst team of all time in the
I'm not
Prem, do
disputing that,
they?
Spartacus, but they were still on.
Fulham,
They still had nothing to play for. Fulham are a well organised side who we
They
had
had
struggled
that to play
against.
for.
Say where I disagree. Your opinion,
no professional
where I
footballers
disagree.
want to lose at home on
No,
the
they
last day
did
of
not.
the season. They
Against
do
City,
not want to lose.
No, Rich, against City, they put a 12-man wall on the line. Against Everton, they went open goal. It was open season against Everton. Against us, they were 12-man block.
Yeah, and but I'm
If you
saying
saw their fans, Rich, and Ellie,
I don't
you
think
were
there's
there,
a player
they
at
were
Fulham.
on the verge of a pitch invasion. They were celebrating not being the worst team in England, like they'd won I thought the Premier League trophy was coming out on the pitch. The way they were celebrating, Rich.
And you think Fulham fans wouldn't celebrate beating City for the first time
Not
in 20
like
years
Southampton
at home?
were.
I think you're totally underestimating the
No,
professionalism.
I'm not.
You're totally underestimating how a team wants to win. If any of our players
Could not
at
agree
Fulham
even
are on the
more, Rich.
beach, we're not going to get in the Champions League.
Yeah,
we need to be
spot on.
thinking this is Fulham's cup final. We need
Oh,
to be
yeah.
taking it seriously, and I think a few of you are going to be in for a bit of a shock on Sunday, because if you're going into it confident and chilled out, after 80 minutes, you're going to be absolutely bricking it.
Rich, what I mean
Richard.
by I think it's going to be an easy game, and I think they're on the pitch. This is the mentality that I have. But if the players have the same mentality, then scrap the whole thing. Because the player have to think like you said.
Weren't our players out last night at Kevin De Bruyne's party? What the fuck? Are they doing it again and getting pissed before games?
Oh, well, sorry they broke your curfew, Alan.
No, we've got games. We've got a point to get.
Were they pissed down? They can have.
Were you out there with the tube with the breathalyzer?
I don't care. We can have that party next week.
No, I'm with
Flip it
Alan.
over to the side,
I'm
though.
with Alan.
Yeah, but because you're not from the other side, though, because you're not saying that that's good team bonding.
Well,
Depends. I haven't seen the event. If it's
If they win,
just
it's
a
great.
dinner,
If they win, it's a great. If they win, it's a great
drinking and
idea.
stuff.
Just looks like a shindig. Yeah.
If they win, it's a great idea. If we lose, that's what it's on. Do you know what I mean? We're always going to do that, aren't we?
Are we not forgetting that of these two teams, that one of them only has something to play for, and that's us, which means we should be going absolutely hammer and tongs to try and get the win.
Mate, we saw what happened last year.
We've had so many games this season. We've had something to play for, and we've been an absolute disaster. We had everything to play for against Palace. That was a game where some of our greatest players had a chance to sign off for the trophy. And we
could also say the same thing about Bournemouth, and I think we looked at Bournemouth with more question marks than this game.
Yeah, but
we got the job done.
We got the job done against Bournemouth because Bournemouth played into our hands in part. We played really well, but they played into our hands. But this is a season where against Inter, against Feyenoord, against United, against Southampton, against Palace, you can put 15 games this season where we've had a lot to play for and we've had a mare. So let's not pretend that because Bournemouth was good, we're back. It's the Centurion season again. And remember, even in that Centurion season, as one of the greatest sides the Premier League's seen, we could only get over the line against a poor Southampton in the 92nd minute. So let's treat this game as it's going to be as gut-wrenching as the Villa game, the QPR game. It's going to be gut-wrenching like that. I think we've got to face it.
On that point as well, Richard, before you go, Marty, on that point what we just made, me and you, Rich, about on the beach comment, right? I've just checked, right, and the Centurion season when we played Southampton, which obviously we ended up getting 100 points that was the final game. Southampton was just above the relegation and couldn't have got relegated that game, right? So they had nothing to play for. It took us till the 9 seconds to get the win, to get 100 points, which we all wanted, and we got in the end. But my point is, like Richard just said, and myself, if you switch off and you think it's easy and you're going to just walk all over them, you're doing them just justice for me. Very much disjustice.
Yep, I agree. They better not be pissed last night. They better not be pissed last night. All I'll say is We saw what happened last year in the FA Cup final when half that team got pissed after winning the league, and we were absolutely dog shit against United.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's if it was a dinner and the players were sensible, then you can't say a word against it. But if they were out till 5 a.m, which they were, the season before, then that's obviously different because this is a game. Yeah, let's be quite clear.
They have to win.
Pep was there too, right? Pep was there, so I'm sure he wasn't having them, do all that extra stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure hopefully all will be good.
Yeah, again, a record at Fulham suggests that we should get it done, and I mean, if anything, you look at it's a bit of a coincidence because you look at it, we did have to play Fulham away at the end of last season as well too, and there was a lot at stake there as well. When Fulham were a respectable side that season with Marco Silva as well too that season, so. I guess we've got to look at it maybe from a similar perspective. I mean, we're not really the same team we were last season, but I think we just got to go in there and just look at it in a similar way. Just like there is something to play for. We just got to go play our game, and we should be able to get the job done. I mean, obviously, we do have what's happening around us is favourable as well too, and what happened last weekend as well too was favourable as well. So. I've said before, I think worst case, an absolute damage control. At least we have the reassurance of knowing that if we're in a position where we have to play for a point, then that is certainly something that that we can fall back on. I certainly don't want it to occur, but if it were to be like that, then at least we know that at least the climb or the chase to get a result, whether it be a point or 3, at least it's not as difficult as what it may have been from maybe say a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but I think Fulham at home this season have beaten most of the top half teams that played at home. They beat Newcastle, they beat Liverpool, I think they beat Arsenal, they beat Forest. They've beaten most of the teams at the top. They beat Brighton, they beat Brentford, I think. Mm-hmm. So if you take that top 10, they've played 8 of them so far, and I think they've won 6, maybe 7.
Sorry to cut you off.
Fulham at home. Cheerio.
Have a good one.
See ya. Take care, mate.
So I think we've got to respect that Fulham at home, they are a good team. They beat good teams. And yes, there's this beach thing, but I think that'll offer them as much positiveness in terms of the pressure off them as anything else. So I think we need to pick a solid team. We need to pick a team that can make sure we don't give away any sloppy goals because we can't afford giving away a goal. I know it was at the end, it didn't matter, but we can't give away sloppy goals like we have in a couple of recent games. And we've got to go then, I want to see Erling play with the energy and the heart and everything else he did against Bournemouth because I thought he lifted his game a lot. And we need to see, the intensity from players like Bernardo that we saw. And, I think there'll be forced changes from Bournemouth, but I'd be surprised if more than 1 or 2 changes get made. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just Nico in for Kovacic and the same 11 as Bournemouth. I think Pep's going to go for it that way. Yeah. If anyone's tired or injured, obviously there might be another change, but generally we've got to go out there and we've got to be solid and we've got to get the job done. Take it seriously, get that Champions League spot, and then we can go out and have a big commiseration. I don't know if it's a season for a celebration, but a big commiseration, bit of team bonding. Hopefully, get a week off before getting back in some kind of training for the Club World Championship.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will beat Forest. I really do.
I think it's going to be interesting.
That one will be a draw because it's at the City Ground. It's in Nottingham as well too, Alan. I think Forest will really push Chelsea.
The first goal's massive, isn't it? The first goal's massive, isn't it, Pat?
Sorry, mate?
The first goal is massive in that game, I would say.
I believe so too, yeah.
It is. Although I would not be surprised if we see the league change hands in that game. And, I think it's going to be one of those things where I know it's not Jeff Stelling anymore, but every 5 minutes there's a different 3 teams in and there's like, they're looking at it and Forest are ahead and Chelsea come back. But Forest play, they play that kind of sit back, try and catch the opponent with jabs when the opponent's got the ball and the opponent come at them. But Chelsea, that's difficult because Chelsea, obviously, a draw is far better for Chelsea than it is for Forest, but it isn't necessarily enough. So Chelsea have to go and win, but Forest have to go and win even more because Forest don't win, they're out. So it's a weird one because it's going to be like, and then there's going to be like Steve Lomas moments, isn't there, where people are getting rumours onto the pitch about what's happening at the other grounds because, hey, Everton's scoring against Newcastle or something. Yeah, at least, I mean, the one thing for City, and I think Newcastle it is with the goal difference, is we know it's in our hands. We don't lose. We're not going to be looking at other results. But for the other four, they're all going to be, looking at results and how's everything going in other games. It's going to be, it's going to be a bit mad.
Yeah. Like you look at Villa. I think the crucial thing for Villa is they must win because they're the worst with the goal difference. I think they're only on about a +9 compared to Newcastle and City who are on about 2022 goal difference. But fortunately for them, they've got a trip to Old Trafford, which means they're playing one of the most depleted physically and emotionally teams at the moment too. So you would expect them to get the job done there as well.
But they're probably not going to get 15 though, are they? I mean, they might get 6 or 7, but they're not going to get 15. United aren't going to let that happen.
I don't know. I mean, we're all hoping Spurs get a result against Brighton and then United lose, and then they finish 17th. So they're actually the worst team outside of the drop zone.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, especially if Forest go ahead against Chelsea. That really puts the cat among the pigeons. Then, and imagine the scenario. Forest go ahead against Chelsea and Newcastle are losing, and their goal difference has gone the same, and Forest is above them, and they're playing for 5th place. There's so many scenarios, and the one thing we know is that the last day of the season does funny things. Like, who would have thought that QPR side could have been up against City, or against that great City side could have been down by 2 against Villa? I mean, mad things happen. It really do.
Rich, I'm just going to interrupt you because FIFA's just come in with a £100 super chat. Mate, I'll wait till Martin's back before he posts that comment, but I just wanted to flag it and just put massive, big shout out to you, mate. Totally unexpected, but thank you so much for that. It's such appreciated. Everybody out there, please give W's in the chat for FIFA for that, mate. So big up to yourself. As I said, I'll wait till Martin gets back before he posts a comment on here, but big up, mate. Much appreciated for that. That's unbelievable. Yeah. Look, the other thing, I suppose, if I look at, try to look at from your perspective about concerns with Fulham too, and it's funny because we look at when we played them earlier this season, we had that really, really scratchy 3-2 result where they probably should have equalised late on in the game as well too. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I think that was, you look back on it now, and that was sort of the last of where we had our little, we started the season with our little win streak. And then that's when I think we really started to see the hole start to appear. And then it wasn't too long after that. I think that was when we lost away at Bournemouth. And then from there, that's when the massive dip in form occurred, from October to December. So I can understand why there would be a little bit of concerns about what Fulham might be able to do to us. But it's a game that, it's funny because I look at it and I thought to myself, I'm like, would I rather play this game at home or rather play this game away? And I'd probably say I'd play this game away because again, hindsight's, but I think we know, Fulham are a tricky little side, and they prove it with their, as you said, Rich, with their record against stronger opposition.
Yeah, I'd rather be at home. I'd rather not be playing on a smaller pitch and, with the fans behind the thing, because that being on the beach can go into the supporters, where the supporters are singing 3 times as much because they're not worried. They get a better atmosphere. No, I'd much rather be at home. Look at us at home compared to away. You know, I'd definitely rather be at home, and you know, I think there are, yeah.
Stop, Rich.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that this is right before I do it. FIFA.
So I was waiting until you came on,
You
mate.
silly boy. Please tell me this is not. If this is an error, let me know. 100 quid super chat. I just want to say a massive thank you. If it's not an error, FIFA, if it is, let me know. He said it's correct. FIFA, you madman. You madman. To Martin, thanks for the brilliant shows, podcast, lives. You shows helped me a lot over the last year during my very low times. I just want to say thank you. And thanks to the rest of the Mancunian way. Remember, don't suffer in silence. W's in the chat for FIFA. Come on.
Yeah, I just sent him a message on Instagram. Big up, mate.
And I know FIFA. Listen, I'm asking double check because FIFA's not an older person. So I want to make sure you're okay with that FIFA before you do it. But massive thank you, mate. That is beyond anything we could have ever imagined. So thank you so much for that, mate. That is one of, not the biggest, one of the biggest ever on the channel, and we don't do it for that. I know you're working, mate. I just want to make sure that you're okay with it. Thank you so much, mate. That means thank you. W's in the chat, fires whatever you can. Thank you so much. Because we don't do it for that. I know people do it. We do it because we love doing it. Ask Elliot, ask Allan. I'll talk City 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, me. I'll talk City any time of the day. I might be a bit happy clapper, but I'll talk it. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Massive, yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit emotional with that one. Yeah, thank you so much. Fulham gave us a tough game at the Etihad. They did. That's because Allan's boy played at fullback and Adama Traore destroyed him.
Didn't Kyle Walker playing that too, and he got rinsed as well.
But he's from Bury. He's from Bury. He's a Bury lad. Allan knows his dad. I think Allan's his godfather.
Yeah.
So Allan was...
He said hello to him in the street. He wants a statue.
No, listen. I genuinely believe. I think Sunday will be a tough game. I know. Jokes side on the beach and all that. Of course, it'll be tough. Fulham are a very good team, some very dangerous players. It's a very small, compact pitch, so I wouldn't go with wingers. I'd stick with the overlapping. Someone's got a parcel. I'd stay with the overlapping full. Would anyone stop the overlapping fullbacks and go with the wingers at Craven Cottage?
I'd pick the same 11 bar Nico for Kovacic has played Bournemouth.
Yep, correct.
Shout.
No, I'd change as little as possible, but Nico's obviously got to come in for cover. And then,
correct.
You know,
Allan, you changing much?
No,
I'll go. I'll do exactly what Rick just said. Exactly the same side with Nico in for Kovacic.
I hear what Elliot's saying though about Ake, but
well, yeah. See, I could handle Ake left fullback would be very good.
Yeah. No, but I think we will get I think we'll get the point that is required, even if all three of the other teams win. Chelsea win, Newcastle win, and Villa win. I think the Villa game is going to be an intriguing one because I don't know what the atmosphere at the Swamp's going to be like. Come Sunday.
It won't be good. It won't be good. It won't be good.
Yeah.
Well, it could go one of two ways.
When you were off, we were wondering, could Villa get 15 goals and make up the goal difference?
Do you know what the weird thing is? It wouldn't actually surprise me if United beat them just to prove the point.
Yeah.
Last game of the season. Last game of the season is a funny game. We've seen it. We've seen the most mad results from teams on the beach, from terrible teams, from teams losing the league on the last week of the season. The one thing we've seen with some of the City and Liverpool games is that teams who've been on the beach have given City a very hard time, and given Liverpool a very hard time in the finishes. Sometimes even at home. So, yeah, it's
What time's the game? Is it 2:00 in the morning on a Monday morning?
One on a Monday morning.
4 o'clock.
One for you.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it at home. I'm not going down to the pub.
Right. I'm going to go around the panel. Rich, are we going to get the point we need?
We are going to come back from 1-0 down with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes.
Can't be dealing with that, Rich.
We're going to win. But we won't be feeling relaxed until about the 4th-minute injury time.
What Rich is saying, we're going to be 1-0 down. Yeah, 1-0 down, and then we'll score a late equaliser, and then Morgan Gibbs-White will score a late equaliser against Chelsea, and then it'll be announced 2 days later that we're signing him.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I think 5 minutes messaging himself going every day.
I think there's going to be a few shockers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Everton go ahead against it's Everton playing Newcastle, isn't it? Everton go ahead before
that's at St James's.
Newcastle come back. I think I think there's going to be some shenanigans. I think Forest and Chelsea will be a classic.
Did anyone? By the way, did anyone see that stat as well too? They said that even if United beat Villa this weekend, they still finished with a lower points total than when Stuart Pearce was manager of City. When we only scored 10 goals at home all season.
Not true.
Yeah. I just read it just randomly, popped up on my phone when I was heading home from work last night. I was like, you're surely not.
Daps mentioned it last night.
Do you know what? That tells you that Martin does get things wrong, because I was hammering. I got it wrong. He's a bag of shit.
He did.
But
in typical Martin fashion, it's 8 months too late. Yeah.
But we all said the same.
I have the question,
Martin. We all said the same about Ferguson. We all said the same about Ferguson. He looked crap for 3 seasons.
Is hammering actually bad?
The players
or a managed team? Yeah. Exactly. I want to say, is it not more the players?
10 hard players in an Amorim squad.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up with the same problem again if Amorim builds in the summer and then gets sacked.
And Elliot, let's remember, Ferguson was terrible for 3 years.
Yeah, 100%.
We were all laughing at Ferguson. He was awful.
So what you're saying, I might be right in the long term, just not in the short term. In the long term, I might be all right.
Oh, I think he's pretty well.
It's nice to know what your priorities like.
I think he's pretty well sporting, but like I say, it depends what you're classing sporting as. What kind of team? What do you rank him as? Rank him as a okay team, a very good team? Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing again, isn't it?
It was. Allan called Amorim shit from the off.
To be fair, Allan's
calls everyone shit.
So that's not much of a thing. I don't know if there's anyone apart from Mancini.
Rich, listen. I called Pep this year. Personally, I think he's had a bad year himself in personal terms, and that's had a massive effect on him. Huge. And I do think he's made a few errors because of his personal life. I honestly do.
A lot of errors.
Well, he's made a lot of errors.
Just a few, I think a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of errors because his personal has been all over the shop, and it has.
Which is fine, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I think he deserves to have an off season, but
he has made a lot.
Foden interview today. Elliot, like I said, Foden said he's got ligament damage. He shouldn't be playing. Pep should be playing him if he's got ligament. He said that himself. He said he's had a bad season.
Yeah.
Pep's had a bad season. There isn't a player this year. This is why we said when we come back and we do the end of season review when I come back from Tenerife, it's over there. Why I said we're going to struggle to choose. Well, not struggle, but it's quite easy to choose the player of the season. Because everyone's been off.
There's only 2 players for me.
Yeah. And one of them has only been there for, I mean, there's 3.
Well, they're both from the same country. They're from
So
my club's
Elliot,
from the same country.
is that Matthias and Nunes?
I'll tell you what, Rich, if Nunes carried on the form what he's had towards the back end of the season, it'd be a very interesting conversation.
It would. Not for Allan. It'd be an
Calendar
uncomfortable
year.
conversation for Allan.
Calendar year, yeah. So we might be back here in December.
Yeah. For the Ballon d'Or. He's still,
I mean,
Nunes
Arsenal
is
like
still
to
in
say
for
that
the
they're
Ballon
league champions
d'Or.
in a calendar year, so we can have.
Al just said he's played the same team as what he played on Tuesday, so we must be having Nunes in, Al.
Yes.
No comment there. No comment
He's
there.
not going to say it, but Elliot, he said yes.
Yes. Not good, but Al. Well done.
Yeah,
I'll ring you after. I'll ring you after, mate. Don't you worry. We'll have a private conversation.
I'll be walking out of Kate. I'll be walking out of Craven Cottage, hopefully.
Where? You going where?
I'm going to the game, mate. I'm going to Craven Cottage.
Are you going down to London, aren't you?
Yeah,
now
mate,
have a go at Elliot. Tell Elliot we've lost.
You do realise I've only missed 1 game all season away, don't you, Martin?
What was that?
It was at. I want to say it was at.
What you missed
Ipswich. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, because you rang me on the way down saying you weren't going.
Yeah. Did go to Ipswich.
Not exactly logistically not the best away day. Yeah.
So Elliot doesn't go to an away game and we win 6-0. Martin goes, we win 6-0.
Yeah.
I'll ask me how many I'm missing the treble season.
Allowed to go to on Sunday.
You can't stop me. You're 12,000 miles away, sunshine.
I don't care. I'll send my mates round to your house. Send my mate and they'll let all your ties down.
I'm going to be how do I drive to the airport at night?
Tenerife.
You can fucking walk.
Big up, by the way, Luke, not in my lifetime. Go and show them a lot of love as well. Not in my lifetime. Luke, Bebo, Alex, and the gang. Go and show them a lot of love. Approaching his 1 year anniversary. Big up, Luke. A lot of love, mate. Dash has joined us. Good evening, Dash. How are you, my friend?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
No.
No. Oh, wow. Amazing.
I haven't been him answering the phone like that. He goes, yes. I go, no.
You've been watching
Dash. Maybe so, maybe not. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. But yeah, listen, pick up everyone in the chat and obviously on the panelists before as well. Yeah, talk about Fulham, yeah. It's like we can't just go down there like against Southampton and just be stale like always. Because if we go down there with the same tactics, yeah, Anthony Robinson will draw us out. Yeah, with that Raul Jimenez, who is on and off sometimes, can be clinical on the day. Adama Traore, yeah, but we think of him as shit or not, he just burst down the fucking scene and it could fucking cook us because they got more water quality and they got the better PMP players than Southampton. So for me, play the same lineup that got us the win on Bournemouth. If you want to drop KDB, you can drop him if you want, depending on what it is, but the mainstay is Nunes. That's the mainstay. Sorry, Allan, but we got to keep moving our right wing back. For me, then it's Nico G. But if you want to give Rodri 45 minutes at the end, go ahead. But it's up to what
KDB will play in the last game. We'll play that now.
Need a striker, so because this is what I'm thinking. I'm not going to get the service. And we know this. He's not going to get the service at Fulham.
Is Haaland going to stop sulking and throwing his arms up in the air and actually concentrate on the game and get on with it?
He was good against Bournemouth.
He was good against Bournemouth.
He worked.
He just wasn't on the score sheet, that was all.
He's like this all the time. All the time. Fucking get on with it. Give him a slap.
Well, it depends, Alan, because against yesterday's against Bournemouth, he was actually doing well in terms of after the red card. He helped out well with the press and dropped him deep. Now you can't do that against Fulham because they'll press higher up more than us. So for me, it's Mamouche. It has to be Mamouche near Holland. No, not Holland, sorry, KDB if we can start.
Yep.
Or we could do is, and this is quite risky, go false 90s and return De Bruyne. And probably play Mamouche on the left. So it depends on where Pep goes. Knowing him, he'll probably put fucking Silva at right wing. And we'll put Joshua Cavallo down at wing back. So you never know with Pep.
Right, Martin, I'm going to go because I'm going to start working in 5 minutes.
No worry. So say hello to someone on LB's panel for us, mate.
I'm not going on LB's panel.
I'm joking.
Send Daps my regards, Alan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing Daps on Sunday, so there you go.
No, take care, Alan. Appreciate it, mate.
Take care, mate. See ya.
See you, Rich. Have you spoke to your favourite mate yet, Rich? Quick one.
Oh no.
I'm sure he'll.
I'm just enjoying Pat's message about a succulent European trophy.
Yeah. Actually, the chat will get a good laugh out of that. Mum, I'll send it on the WhatsApp group. Post it if you wanted. It's
I'm
really
going to
funny.
move to something a little bit different.
Oh, fine.
Pat's comments.
Don't forget to pay now.
Pat's comments the other day was talking about the squad. And now I know what he says after the game is here or there, but he did say if he has to have a big squad, that he would quit. Now, I always say, word of caution, never always believe what Pep says. Sometimes he says things for effect, and sometimes he means things. You never know what you're going to get with our manager. But what I thought we'd do is go through the squad right now and show you. I'm just going to see if I can do it and just show everyone where we are at. So as you can see, we have Scott Carson, Edison, Ortega, there's 3. Akanji, Ake, Ruben Diaz, Gabardio, that's 7. Kushinoff, Lewis, Victor Hayes, John Stones. So let's count 1, 2,
11.
3, 6, 7, 8.
11.
Okay, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 players. And it seems Reinders is coming in as well. So we're obviously going to have to do some manoeuvring here to make the squad smaller and add players. So what I thought we'd do is, and we can start from wherever we want. You know, we'll make this. I know it won't be. We'll get into more depth as we come in. But if you add Reinders into this, you're at 29 players. Yeah?
Yep.
So we need 7 out before we even add any more in.
So how much quantity are you talking, Martin? Are you talking 22, 23-ish?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where are people at this? Because you are literally at 29 players.
We've normally had 20, 22, 23, sometimes 24. So I think you've got to go down by about 5. You know, we're probably going to say about 24.
Elliot?
And you've got to look at the homegrown component as well, because if we get rid of, you know, a Walker, any of the English lads, Grealish, etc., then when we sign, we've potentially got to sign English players. So I think that's why someone like Gibbs White is very important. But I'd be looking at 24. Yeah. So I'd say we've about 5 have got to go, and obviously
I don't think he does 25. Rich. He's already said he doesn't want to do 25.
Yeah, but he says a lot of things.
Scott Carson's contract's up?
It's this season. He renews it year by year.
Doesn't matter because we have to replace Carson because you can't.
I was going to say,
you can't
Rich.
not
I was
have
going
a
to say, Rich.
goalkeeper.
I was going to say, Rich, the lad who's been involved from the academy. I think they call him
Okay.
Spike.
Yeah.
I think they call him.
Spike Brit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's good enough.
Is he going to be the third team goalkeeper?
Yep.
If he's good enough, having that experience and the squad training and everything's good.
Yeah.
Scott Carson is this summer, Elliot.
Yeah, there's no movement really, is there?
No, so he's out. As is Izzy Kabore, he's out of contract.
Yeah.
Maximum Peroni is gone.
In a way, I actually
too.
think that Scott Carson is probably considered outside the squad by Pep because I don't think Pep feels bad leaving Scott out. I think Scott Carson's really a coach who's paid players' wages. So in a way, I doubt Scott. I doubt Pep's going to have even in his head count him as one of the 24. But if he's too old to play now, then bring a kid in again. And if we do bring in a kid who's third choice, still playing for the academy and stuff, then I doubt Pep really thinks of that as that's not a player who's going to be annoyed if they're not, on the bench.
Yeah, I think it's the homegrown. I think it's homegrown as well, Rich. What I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
Obviously Scott Carson now Spike Brit. Obviously, you've got Ortega or Edison. Now, this is going to be very dependable because I don't think all three will leave. Who do you think out of Ortega or Edison will leave first before we go on to replacements?
Who do we think or who would we want? I'd keep Edison, and if Ortega goes, get an English backup. But I really don't know. I mean, Edison looked to me like maybe he was saying goodbye to the Etihad in his head on.
There's rumours of a
Tuesday
12-month extension going on. I don't know how true that is.
I'd keep Edison if he wants to stay because I just think getting a new keeper will be so disruptive. And I do think we've seen this season that we are a better team with Edison than Ortega.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only concerns we had, which
said it about Palace.
Yeah.
That, that had we had Edison against Palace, we'd have had that long ball option to Haaland to give Palace something to think about. And we didn't. So, yeah, Edison stays, great. Then maybe Ortega goes and we get an English keeper in.
Okay,
I'd love
Rich.
to see Trafford, but
on that aspect, Rich, there's two English goalkeepers that we're looking at. The one from Leighton Orient and the Sunderland one. I think it's called Patterson. Yeah, so if we won, that could be your second choice goalie. Now that's going to be on quality. Now if you want non-homegrown, I would put a cheeky bid in. I know it's a release code, but I'd put a cheeky bid in for Joan Garcia of Espanyol.
I'd go
12
steady
million
with. I'd go steady with that, Dash. By the way, I know what you're saying, but if you're getting a keeper from, with all due respect, Sunderland, and Edison has the same injury problems as what he had this season, are the fan base really gonna want a number two like him in after we've just had someone like Ortega? Because this is, I think, this is the best we've ever had it. I think this is probably the best we've ever had it.
Yeah. Elliot, I'd flip that question on the other side. Sunderland could be a Premier League side in a week.
Yeah.
Why would you leave? Why would you leave being first choice at a Premier League team to be second choice at another?
Yeah, this is what I said about Trafford, didn't it, yesterday, Rich? Yeah, about Burnley. Why would Burnley really want Trafford to go? I know they might not have a choice.
Yeah, it's fair.
But I think we've had it pretty decent, to be fair, with Ortega and Edison. Very, very good, in fact.
Yeah,
okay.
No, that's true. So no changes. Staying the goalkeepers the same.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then Liverpool with Mono. I forgot his name. It's a Georgian keeper. Let's just say we want to do the same thing with Edison. If we get a Joan Garcia or a Chevalier, let's just say yes, we pitch it to them 1 year, he's going to be second choice. Then from Edison, and then the next year when he goes, he'll take his place. Would you accept that?
The problem is, it's what's worrying me at the minute is is Edison's injuries, what is that this season going to carry on? And if it is, do we really want to be? I don't know. Do they want to be sort of having inexperienced goalkeepers? I think Patterson's only pretty young, which I know goalkeepers go too late, so I get that. But the other side of it, could you keep Ortega and then get another in and Ortega be as a number 2? Is that actually going to happen anyway? So are we not just easy saying Ortega's probably going to leave?
I mean,
Like
there's
Rich
a
said.
comment down there that says about getting a 12-month extension is just kicking down the road, and I agree with that. So if that's the case, because we don't know how committed Edison will be next season, we don't know. Like, come on, he's been a trouble, let's just say, in the background. So if that's the case, then we've got to get our first choice goalkeeper in now before the season starts.
But Dash, by that logic, if you can't have a player with 2 years left on the contract, we shouldn't have Pep. I mean, Edison, if he signs a year extension, he's got a couple of years left on. He's exactly the same as Pep. I think if Edison wants to stay and he's mentally ready to stay, he's the best goalkeeper in the Pep system, and we'd be crazy to upset that. And we're going to have enough. We're going to have enough rebuilding next season in other positions. We're going to have to rebuild the midfield.
Why can't Spike Brits go number 3?
He can. I don't think anyone's arguing with that. I think everyone's happy with that. He replaces Carson. I think we're talking about number 2.
Is this?
I think both goalkeepers, personally. If you're going to ask me personally, I would say both goalkeepers. I side more going than staying. Yeah, which then I think that probably causes a problem because
I do think it is kicking the can down the road.
I think it's a can we need to kick down the road, though, because we're going to have to rebuild midfield next season and, in a sense, rebuild the defence. And we do not want to have to rebuild the midfield and defence and the goalkeeper in the same season. And possibly the wings.
Thank you again.
Some stability, I think, is important.
No, I hear it, but does Edison stay in 12 months? Are you doing that because you have to do, and then you're still keeping a player who's not fully there mentally?
Well,
because here's the point, Rich.
Have we?
All right, just say, for example, he signs the 12-month extension next week, yeah? And Al Hilal or whoever else come now, and they put 30, 40 mil down on the table, and he says, I still want to go. Do you say no again?
If someone offered 40 million, we'd have accepted a year ago, I reckon.
No, because they only offered 25.
That's what I mean. If someone offered 40 million, we'd take it. But someone only offered 25.
You stop looking for a keeper now. You've got to make a say. Well, right, no, you don't go no matter what offer comes in.
What about this?
I've got a little bit of sympathy to Edison because, by all accounts, and I don't know the exact details, he was offered a contract which is about a third of what our top earner, well, less than a third now, Haaland's on, what our top earner's on. I think Edison was the first name on the team sheet for 5 years under Pep. And I think he probably did feel a bit disrespected by the club. And I think that, I think he's one of those people who doesn't forget anything and takes everything seriously. So I think at some point we've played a bit of a part in, Edison looking outside, because honestly, if he knows what he's done for City and he thinks I am worth a little bit more than being on half John Stones or a third of Kevin De Bruyne as a new contract, then I can kind of get why he might have felt a bit miffed by that, and then he might have looked outside, because I do think he should have been renewed, and he should have been renewed on one of the best contracts of goalkeepers on globally, and we've played our part in this, not just him. And I don't want us to have to go through a Claudio Bravo season, which we might have to when Edison goes. Because no one's, even if we sign Costa, and I know that seems to be quietening down, but whoever we sign is not going to come in and slide into the side and be Edison. We're going to have disruption. And if we've got different midfield and different defence, I don't think we can afford that disruption, because if we do, we're going to have another season without winning. And we've seen the meltdown this season. I think we've got to show an improvement next year. And for me, keeping the base is important.
All right, Rich. Sorry, go on. Apologies.
Why? Because the club expects it, and I can't be doing with another season of fans meltdowns because they can't handle not winning anything. I don't think Pep will accept another season not competing. I think he'd go if we're not competing for the title next year. So I say let's not tempt fate and make that happen.
Can I throw a wild
I've
card
got
in
a serious question.
Go on, Dash. Go on, Dash.
I've got a serious question, and I think there's a bit of distrust. So this is my question. Do you want to keep Edison, not just because of the build-up play that he offers, which he crucially does for our defence, but do you distrust our defence in doing it themselves? Because you've got goalkeepers around the world, great shot stoppers, and they've got a great defence that can build up themselves. Do you distrust our defence? Because if we don't trust our defence as much to build up, then that's a big problem.
No, I think it's slightly different. Our defence is one way to build up. Having a goalkeeper who can pass and offer what Edison is a different weapon. And I think at the very top of the game, if you want to win titles, you need as many weapons as possible. So, I would keep Edison because of what he offers as a weapon. And having a great goalkeeper, also being able to pick out the right defender at the right time, allows the defence to create. So I just think if we bring someone new in, then even when they're settled in, they're not going to be as good as Edison offensively. And, shot stopping, he can do it. He showed in the 23, when we won the Champions League, that he's quite capable of being a very good shot stopper. Okay, he hasn't been quite as good this year, but I think he's underrated on that.
Can I throw a wild card in there?
Yeah, go on, Eddie. Go on, Eddie.
Right. What about if Edison signed a new contract an extra year, right? And then we're going to sign Ortega leaves, and we're going to sign someone like Orestes, which I believe I think is about 20 years old. We keep Edison for a season, then see what happens, and then let Orestes at his age learn under Edison, and then when Edison leaves, he then takes the reins, a little bit like the Fernandinho Rodri situation, what we had going on.
Yeah, no, I
good
think
man Orestes from Toulouse.
Yeah, Dosh.
Yeah, whoever the replacement is for Edison, give them at least 12 months.
He wouldn't money
12 months
because he's almost 20.
Yeah. Train, and that's what I'd like to have seen with, someone like Trafford for a year, but give him a year playing in the FA Cup, playing in the League Cup, training every single day, so that if Edison goes, there's someone ready to step in and play. Because I just don't think, and maybe you will disagree, but I just don't think I would want to go into a season with Ortega number one. I just think he's a level below Edison, and I'd like to be bringing in the next keeper under Edison to do exactly as you said, Elliot. Learn, so that when they come into the side, they know the players, they know the defence, they know everything, and they're ready to come in without the pressure of just being thrown in at the deep end.
Spot on.
Yeah, I mean, Ortega, this is the thing with Ortega, mate. He probably wants to leave. I think the German national team is a big factor for him. I don't think he can face waiting this long to get in that first team choice. I think what he wants to leave. And I think Restes would probably be the perfect profile for that. Because he's more of a ball-playing goalkeeper alongside Verbruggen for Brighton. I know Coble's a bit different. He's more of a Costa blend. So if you want to go down the ball-playing keeper blend, like we alluded to, then Restes or Verbruggen is the one to go to. Maybe a Mal Sylvier. But if you want to go down the shot stopping, and I know people don't like Costa, then you go for a Chevalier, a John Garcia, away. I've
That's
had
what I see it
Savage.
obligated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. 50 million, around 15 million quid if they get relegated. Because I think, yeah, have been confirmed already.
That's what I mean.
Espanyol.
They've been relegated, haven't they? So he might have a release clause, a relegation release clause. That makes it a little
But
bit
would other
more.
clubs, not be interested in Martin as the number
Well,
one?
I have heard there's about 10 clubs after him as well. That was the other side of it earlier.
Yeah,
That's
Barcelona.
Martin,
10 clubs.
Martin, I've got a feeling, because I have to drop in 5 minutes or a bit under 5 minutes, that you're trying to just make the goalie chat go so long so that John Stones' manager and agent, it's not on when you start going through the defence. So, Patrick, firstly,
This is an ongoing conversation, Rich.
Yeah.
This is going to change as we're going along.
as Stones' assistant agent, Pat, move to the side, show your flag, and don't put up with any nonsense about John Stones going from anyone. Stones stays. No one's going to pay 250 grand a week for Stones, so the club won't be able to sell him even if they wanted to. He's going to be nursed. He's going to be rest, and we're going to see prime John Stones for about 25, 30 games next season as City come back. And you all eat a John Stones humble pie at the end of the season with Stonesy and his trophies behind him. Stones stays. And on that note, I better say good night and enjoy. I'll watch back the rest of the show to make sure there's been no Stones agenda and make sure there's been no nonsense up front. And see everyone later.
See you later, Rich.
Take care, Rich.
See you
All right,
later.
mate.
Cheers.
You're not joining us tomorrow, are you?
I'll let you know. Send me the invite because
I'll send you the invite.
I might be
By the
okay.
way, yeah, because by the way, we'll let you know there is a hard stop tomorrow around 1:40 because I've got a hair appointment at 1:50. That sound sorry, I need to reword that. That sounded so.
You've got all that, sorry.
Is that
It won't go for too long.
yeah? Is that Ashley
Oh,
and
is that
Martin?
what you told me the other day, Martin, about your Danic ginger for KDB for his last game?
Yeah.
No, I'm on my holiday.
Yeah, not everyone.
My holiday.
Careful, he'll go collar and cuffs.
I have got some info. Apparently, City have agreed a deal with a Derby counter under 15s keeper for $1 million.
Or a deal for a 15-year-old.
Yeah, and do you want to know something else as well? Leroy Sané.
We're hardcore about dropping the average age of the squad, aren't we?
Sorry?
Leroy Sané has offered himself to City. Well, he's offered himself to a few Premier League clubs, including City.
Martin, will I say in January?
Why not? Why not?
I just don't think that suits us anymore.
He does have a good ring to it, though, doesn't it? Gundo back to
No,
what he was
because
cover leaves. Sané back
it
to
doesn't
19.
suit us. No, that's. You don't ever go back to an ex. You don't do it. As the Gundogan stuff works, really, Elliot.
But Gundogan's so Martin. Leroy Sané has pace and tech.
Now? You're asking that now?
No, it's worked, but you've seen the fan base's reaction to Gundogan this season.
Do you think Pep's listening to the fan base, though, mate?
No, I know Pep doesn't listen to the fan base. I know that. I know. I'm just.
Brian Marvin to the fan base. The cheeky to the fan base.
And one of these never go back to your ex.
But what if his ex works, Martin? A dream that
Because you are going to have to sell Docker at that point.
Oh yeah, he can fuck off. I thought Docker. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have that.
Yeah, she's like, fuck off.
Listen, I never won in the first place. Get Leroy Sané back 10 times to play, even though he's a bit washed. He still has a bit of pace. He's still techie, isn't it right, Elliot? And he's got the left-hand side shooting boots.
Why are buying games?
Wages.
Surely
It's
he's
just
not
wages.
Wages.
No,
The
guys.
wages.
He's not good enough for Bayern. What makes him good enough for Manchester City to run out?
Bayern want to keep him. But I think he wants more money than what he's on.
Yeah, more salaries and all that. Yeah, man.
I'm putting devil's advocate out there. That's all.
Listen, Martin. Any other winger is better than Docker at this point, man. I can name you out 30 wingers that's better than him. Yeah, and Leroy Sané is one that's better than him. Yeah, Doc about for about 50 million
Never
quid.
known a winger have so
Stuff
much
on it.
fan base.
What are you saying, Dash? We send Doku on 150 million to Barcelona for Lamine Yamal.
Oh yeah, go on, Pat. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, Sparkles love that as well, man.
Would you not take
Get
him,
on.
Martin?
No,
Really?
no. Yeah,
Really, Martin?
No, because I'm going to say it. I don't, and this is me. I don't think we suit direct players direct wingers while Pep Guardiola is manager. If we had any other manager than Pep, I'd be more for it.
It depends whether you're technical or not, Martin. That's a question.
He comes inside a lot
One of
now,
them not
Martin, you know,
technical.
for Bayern. He comes in off the right a lot, you know, for Bayern. I'm only throwing that out there, to be fair. But
Is he tracking back? Is he learning how to track back?
well, I suppose if you play the diamond, he probably wouldn't need to as much.
You know what, yeah, Martin? I actually watched five Munich games I watched. He actually tracked back a bit. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not even trying to push the agenda. He actually does track back a bit.
Put
So it can
Fresh's
work.
comment up, Martin.
You guys have got your ex. You're one of them, mate. You
Well,
two
can I ask you a
these
question, then,
people,
Martin?
like,
Well,
if the other
let me
half
ask you
gets
something.
you ring them up constantly, aren't you? Not letting you go.
Martin,
Not letting you go.
Martin, let me ask you something then. So, do you not think the reaction in the stadium the other day spoke volumes? You said it yourself earlier on when you started the show.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling got an applause. So
No, you know Sané's were different. You know Sané's were different.
Exactly.
He did get a good
Sane was
he did get a good
level.
reception.
I think Sané moved to Bayern for we all know the reason, the country reason why they're playing for Germany, and there's no way. Even like Pat, can you remember? I don't know when it were when we played him in pre-season, and there's the picture with Sané, and it looks like it looked like it were crying to Pep. I don't know. I can't remember when it were, but it was almost like crying. I don't remember what it was. That what it were? That what it were, Dash?
Yeah. When he was upset, or when he looked like he was visibly upset when he was talking to Pep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was treble season. That was after he played behind in the first leg.
That was it. Yeah, that was when Rodri scored, isn't it, from the edge of the box?
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Not just that, the Harden one where he ran it up. What's it called? I forgot his name. Wire or something. I forgot his name. And then after that 1-1, he hugged him.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry, Dash. Yeah, the only thing, Elliot, with that picture was don't forget, it was reported that same night was when Sané got into that scuffle with Sadio Mane. So for all we know, he could have run off and decided to have a bit of a chat with Pep just to try and calm him down.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
maybe.
Yeah, we don't really know.
I just think there's always been that little bit of a what if, haven't there, with Sané?
Yeah. I get this feeling that when he retires and, you know, if he comes out with a memoirs or something or does interviews, he'll probably turn around and say, I should have done more at my time at City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah.
It's the biggest regret of Sané because him moving.
I really think he will.
Do you have any?
Because he loved everything about the club. He loved the club. He loved the city. I mean, he's got property over in Manchester. His missus lives there too, doesn't she?
His missus. Yeah, I think she lives in Manchester.
Yeah, so he's got a huge affiliations to not just Manchester City, but the city of Manchester itself. So but again, it comes down to how many times we said this before when he was playing for us, like he wouldn't track back, or you know, he was a bit too greedy, you know, in front of goal, or you know, the Centurion season. How much did we kick and scream about how heavy his touch was when he was through on goal? You know, just these little things that, like, maybe I think the guy. Look, I know, to be honest, when you play football at that level, you need to have an ego, but the best players know how to control that ego. And I think Sané, I think he let his ego get the better of him from sometimes, and I think the whole being sold the dream of, you know, being the pin-up boy at Bayern and, you know, guaranteeing that you're going to be in Die Mannschaft, you know, every single international break and every single sort of tournament if you come and play for Bayern. Sort of, I'm not going to say this sold him a dream because he still had success at Bayern, but I do think that when you look at what the player was based on the talent he had at Schalke, and then also just the fact that he was a very consistent player year in, year out at Bayern, you look at what he did at City and you think if he'd stayed there, and I think if he just listened to Pep a bit more, I think he could have been an absolute legend of the club. He's got the cult hero following. We love players that have a bit of a cult following, but he could have been an absolute legend if he just maybe just put a bit more effort in.
Yeah, Pat, I got his stats right now. You
Any
know,
other
Pat.
news, Martin?
45 goals, 13 goals. Yeah, for 13 goals, 6 assists in 45 games for Bayern Munich this season. Sane. Doing that bad, you know.
The only one I've got is obviously Reinders. Looks like that's done. Bad shouting. I think Reinders will be a City player. Morgan Gibbs-White, when we'll go into it more tomorrow on the transfer waffle show, I think Morgan Gibbs-White will generally be a City player.
Do you think these will both be done before the Club World Cup?
I think Reinders will.
Reinders is moving pretty quickly. It seems. Yeah.
I think Forest seem to be looking at his replacement already. They're looking at this guy from Monaco. Ash something, a youngster at Monaco. They're looking at spending 50 mil for him. So yeah, I do think Gibbs White.
Is there any links or anything to anyone, or like interest in anyone, or?
Yeah, well,
I got a name.
The other interest is I did get told yesterday that Ain't Nori bid had been rejected. I don't know whether they go back for that.
I got a name, Martin, and it's quite recent. This guy called Rocco Reitz from, I think it's Mönchengladbach. He was on a list like 2-3 weeks ago, and then obviously he came out with an interview saying that, if Pep wanted me, I'd go in an instant. So I probably say it's a knee-jerk type of interest, to be fair to you, Martin. Not one that would just be.
I think we've got to sell a lot. So obviously, but at 29 with Reinders, I think you're gonna have to sell a couple of mids. I think McAtee will go. I think McAtee will go. I think that will happen. Couple of goalies may go, so that takes you down. KDB will go, so that's 4 down. Takes you down to 25.
Kyle Walker,
but I didn't include Kyle Walker in the 29.
Oh, you didn't anyway. Yeah.
29. That's what I'm saying. I think the Rico Lewis one will be intriguing. Does he go on a loan? Maybe, I don't know.
But they were getting more homegrown players than United.
Yeah. There was one. There is interest in Kobe Mainu.
Again.
They are keeping tabs on that one. Because as you know, Pep loves Kobe Mainu. He wanted Kobe Mainu before. When did he sign that contract? Does anyone remember?
Yeah, 10
2 years ago, I think.
It would have been less than a year ago, wasn't it?
They were very intrigued in him then. I think if Pep could get Kobe Mainu, he'd love him. Because I think Pep
he'd actually be good in this system. I don't
know why United aren't playing it. I do not understand why Kobe Mainu is not in this United.
Because he was more of a Ten Hag player. He was more of a Ten Hag player. He's not an Amarin player.
No, I think Kirkaz will be. I think he's Liverpool bound. Apparently, he's booked in for a medical there, Lucas, from what I understand. I'll be honest with you, Kirkaz didn't impress me the other night.
Yeah, just one good goal, that's it.
More than him. I think Wesley, I think that's got legs to it, Wesley. I don't know where we go with that one in terms of whether that actually happens.
I'm curious to see the business with Wesley Martin, because you got to remember Flamengo, who we're trying to sign him from, will be at the Club World Cup as well. So you wonder if that'll be one they might wait until after the Club World Cup.
I'd actually say, I'd go as far as say I think Reinders is 100% done.
Yeah, I think Reinders is done.
And I think that's 100%.
Pending unforeseen circumstances.
I think there's 3 before the Club World Cup, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, next week after the Premier League season ends, medicals already been scheduled, prepped, time to go. I mean, they definitely got someone in.
Just have a feeling we're going to get 3 in before the Club World Cup, to be honest.
What positions would you say then, Elliot?
I reckon the Gibbs White will be here, Reinders will be here, and this Wesley. I think they're the 3 that'll be done. I think McAtee will probably maybe go before the Club World Cup. Obviously, one of the goalkeepers maybe go. Maybe one of the midfielders, if obviously Randers is coming in with Gibbs White. Grealish, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like Grealish is done. I think Grealish will probably go out. I think he'll go on loan. It looks like KDB to Napoli is going to be done because his wife's been house hunting in Naples. By the way, what a beautiful city to go and play in and live in, Naples.
Yeah,
Still going to wear that sky blue.
Previous show, man, they'll treat him like royalty as well.
Yeah. I don't think things happen now. I think this is a fan thing. I think the Xavi Simons and Cherky is a fan dream more than I don't think City are going to do that.
Someone's put a great comment in the chat about
I think it's going to be in-house. I think it's going to be in-house. Echeverri, Foden, and Marmoush to compete for that 10 role.
It was Walker a player, aren't they? Yes,
That's Scott Blake on it.
Yeah. I think it's Sheffield United. I mean, I wouldn't rule out Calvin Phillips going to Leeds, maybe on a loan with a view to a permanent.
They may be both be loans, Martin. See what happens if they stay up on that.
We can loan 6. The rule is 6 as long as they're over the age of 21.
Who else is really going to get loaned out, though?
Yeah.
Adam?
You think?
Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to quickly say about Calvin Phillips. Yeah, you think Calvin Phillips could be a loan to Leeds and then maybe like a not the option to buy, but the like if let's say they stay up, then they must pay say 10, 15 million pounds to us.
I don't know how much paying per end. Sorry, say that again, Pat.
I was saying Calvin Phillips. I think good business for us would maybe something on the lines of loan for a year and then an obligation to buy if they stay up.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds pretty similar Walker that part as well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, with Walker, he's only got a year left, so
that's what I mean, though, Martin.
Then he's out of free anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So they don't have to do any obligation on Walker.
No, I mean they'll probably. Yeah, I mean that'll probably be on Walker's side, agreeing with Sheffield United, won't it?
Yeah. If I'm going to be honest with you, do you know what I think City will do? I think City will release him out of his contract.
Yeah, it's about 2 million, 3 million just around that figure. No one's going to pay that money, especially not East Milan.
I mean, you think about it. With what we'd probably ask for in a loan fee, it's probably worth just letting him go. Cancelling it up, letting him go, and let him go and negotiate where he wants.
Yeah.
So was a player the defence, Martin, on the actual, on the squad, what you got up beforehand, who were actually, do you think it's going to go off for that?
I do think John Stones, because I think I watched John Stones' body language on Tuesday night, and he looked like a man who was going, if I'm honest with you.
He looked dead. You look dead in the eye.
I'm a bit sad John Stones won't get a goodbye if he does leave. That's sad.
Injuries have just knackered him up, haven't they, man? It's been very, very sad considering how good he actually is when he plays.
I think that's the sad part about Tuesday night, Elliot. I think there will be players who have been there for near on. I mean, John Stones has been there 10 years virtually, and he's not going to get a goodbye if he walks out.
Yeah.
Going to get nothing. Yeah. That's the real sad part in this.
It's brutal,
John Stones deserves all the same adulation that Aguero, Silva, Zaba, Yaya, Cade. He deserves that. Does he not?
Yes. He definitely does, but sometimes not everyone gets a good ending. That's the sad part of football. And I would have given him a parade, John Stones.
9 years, does he not? This is the problem. This is the problem with Tuesday night. KDB deserved it, but you could say that about a lot of our players. Because John Stones, Bernardo, Edison have all been here a long, long time.
They're cult legends, aren't they? When you think about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're not nobodies.
You got to be careful on this statue thing as well. Can't give everyone a statue.
Well, you could say the same thing about Nathan Ake, couldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. I think we're being sentimental over the statues a bit. KDB deserves one. Rodri, I think, will get one. Does Gundogan deserve one? Does it? Because then you're going, Gundogan was club captain in the treble. Well, you know, I give everyone a statue.
Phil will get one if he keeps on this rate, but that's probably 10 years away from now.
Not really anymore, David T. Testimonials aren't. And I'm not even trying to upset Rich with it. I'm just, I think someone will. But what's the latest from Cambiasso? I think the Cambiasso thing seems to have just died.
I've got an update, Martin, if you don't mind me sharing. With Cambiasso, what I'm hearing is that they're going to do another background check. This week. They're doing another one, City. And when I usually do a second one, Martin, and you might know this more than I do, it doesn't sound that good. Now, sometimes it can be good, depending on the situation, but most times it's not a good sign. And that means something must have happened because, Sudikov, we done a second one on him months back, and let's just say he loved a good one-night stand here and there, every week, I should say, and that's why he's going Napoli. So he doesn't always mean good, but we'll see about Cambiasso, man. I mean, I'll be shocked if it doesn't happen. I've always said this, but I think we go away because we've seen this rubbish happen before where the last minute they pull out.
If I was a betting man, I don't think Cambiasso happens anymore. No, this is what I mean. I think Xavi Simons and Cherky are a fan. I think that's fan hype. I don't think Xavi Simons or Cherky happens. I think Cherky may even end up at PSG. I think Xavi Simons may end up. I don't think Xavi Simons will be at City. I think City are going to run with Foden, Mamouche, Echeverri, Gibbs White, and whoever else to rotate around. I think we're going to become more a steely, determined team with legs and energy more than we're going to be about flair. I think Echeverri and Foden will be the flair people because too many people are giving up on Foden. Foden is, if Foden comes back, you've got one of the best midfielders in the country. It's whether he comes back. But they're not just going to sign Xavi Simons and then, to give up on Phil Foden. Still highly regards Phil Foden.
Well, that's a big if, Martin. That's a really big if, and that's only Foden to test it out, man. Listen, everyone's got to believe in Foden.
Is it a big if, Dash? Because then that's saying like Rodri after an ACL.
That's what I'm saying to you. It's like
one bad
Phil
season
Foden
shouldn't make it a big if.
It's not even just a bad season, man. It's the medical condition that he has.
Yeah.
You're missing somebody. You're missing someone, by the way.
I think too many people are giving up on Foden far too easily for me. Far too easily.
You're both missing someone, by the way, in the list. What you've just said, Martin.
And Chimera.
No, yeah. Well done, Dash.
Oscar Bob, yeah.
I think there's more in-house going. Sorry, Dash. I was going to say that I think there's more in-house that's going to happen in the squad next season than what people out there actually realise.
Exactly, but as I'm saying, we got Bob, Echeverri, Foden, maybe Mamouche can do the 10 role in a Kako, like I said before.
We've got some good depth already there. Yeah.
As people always say, Verts and Musiala only became Verts and Musiala because they were given the opportunity. As a wise man once said to me, Verts and Musiala were given the chance and became as good as they are because they were given the opportunity at a young age.
Thanks.
Why can't City make their own Verts and Musiala?
Moving Echeverri.
This is what I mean. I think too many have given up on Foden far, far too soon. You've got Oscar Bob, you've got Echeverri, you've got Mamouche. Bernardo's probably still going to be here. You're going to add Reinders and Morgan Gibbs White. We're going to have enough. You've got Nico G.
Rodri.
I don't think we're going to be going with it. Too many people are getting bit up on this 10 number. And watch KDB on Tuesday night. The last thing he played was a frigging 10. He was an inside right, inside left, number 8. No, he was everywhere on Tuesday night, as was Mamouche.
Like I said, the free roll, the phone call, Martin. You got the free roll KDB. I think
But we're
players will get
getting
the free roll.
on numbers. He's a 6, he's an 8, he's a 5, he's a 10. It's becoming a maths lesson. But anyway, right, we're going to wrap up soon. We're going to wrap up in 2 minutes. Leroy doesn't pass backwards and sideways enough for Pep. When is the stadium? 2026, January, February 2026, Dave. What about fullbacks? Well, at the moment there's Wesley, Nora, and I don't know if Cambiaso's still on the list, and Livamento's liked, but Newcastle ain't going to sell Livamento.
No.
Unless you go in with a stupid bid.
Mine, I just sent you something regarding Nico G from Pep. I don't know if you're going to pull it up or read it out.
Oh, he said Nico G. Yeah, I've got it now. Nico G is a fantastic guy. He can play holding midfield. He can play more in front, made a fantastic goal. And, of course, it's good news that Rodri's back. Still, he's on the way. He needs months and months, but the first step, he did it. So there you go. No spot on.
Thought Pep did on back today, to be fair, with Nico and Rodri, when he said about them linking up.
Right,
a very good point, to be fair.
I agree with that, but I think we're getting very focused on numbers, shirt numbers.
I think our confidence, mate.
We are leaving in a minute, but you just flip back to the beginning. Anyway, final thoughts, gentlemen. Anything you want to add before we leave? That's a no.
Yeah.
I agree with that. We're overcomplicating this.
Yeah.
People want the names. That's the problem. We've got to.
Yep.
I've always said we look at profiles, not names. I know it. Kirkers, I think he ends up at Liverpool. It was either Burts or nobody. Yeah. I agree with that. Martin Foden is a gem. We should never forget that. I hope to get all his problems. Exactly. David T has been down by the June as pitch leg. Yeah, there you go. For a space like yes, I'm going to set one up for about 25 minutes. We'll get it going. Love Nico J. Gani, everyone. Yep. Take care, David T. Good luck on Sunday night against Everton. We'll see you next year in the Champions League. Thank you very much, Stephen. I know numbers have been a bit down. LB's scared of us, you see. LB's scared of the Mancunian way, so he's decided now he's gonna go live when we go live. He's scared of the Mancunian way. So he's trying to disrupt us. But listen, it's not about the numbers. It's about you people in here. We said it. We don't care if there's 10 people watching. We're never going to change the channel. We are what we are. You know, we're going to be honest. We're going to be as best we can. We're going to be ourselves. Some will like that. Some will not. It is what it is. I'm not going to throw my chair out the window because it looks classy on a playback. We're just going to be honest, and that's the way we are.
I think there's more to that if you're just going to throw your chair out, man.
Yeah, but no, everything's fine. I'm only having a bit of a laugh with LB. LB will be on here tomorrow at 12 p.m. for the Transfer Waffle Show.
Were you on with mine?
Pardon?
Who were you on with?
When?
Tomorrow.
Just me and LB. Or anyone else wants to join?
I might pop on and question him on a few transfers. What I've heard him bang on about.
Don't forget as well, tomorrow is the last stream for 9 days while we're going to have a bit of sun. So everything will be on hold. We'll be back Monday, the 2nd of June, I believe, is it? Let me just get the date.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Is that about right? I'm sure that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday, the 2nd of June, we'll be back. No, 3rd of June. Tuesday, the 3rd of June, we'll be back. We'll be back Tuesday, the 3rd of June, and we'll kick everything off. Just going to have 8 or 9 days off while we're away. Give everyone a nice break. Might do some shorts in between. There won't be a Sunday show because I'll be getting ready to go away. So I will do a post-match on a YouTube short and do it that way. Because Sunday evening I will be leaving on a jet plane.
You better turn your phone
That
off,
was
Martin,
aimed
if
at
you
me.
don't
You're
win.
picking the
Go
wrong
on, mate.
person, Martin. For
So
obvious
that and you
reasons.
both went then.
I said if that was aimed towards me, Martin, you're picking the wrong person.
Yeah, because you're always on a bleeding jet plane.
Yeah. Get paid to do
To
it.
Blackpool.
It's good to
Oh,
see the
yeah,
real ones go to Fulham away, innit?
Look at
That's
him
true.
here. The real ones go to Fulham away. Go to Fulham away.
I'm never really a fan of the London away days, but the one that I'd like to do, that I've got left that I'd like to do is Craven Cottage. And I think a lot of Blues do suggest they reckon Fulham is up there as probably their favourite London away day.
Yeah, it's good.
Mine has more holidays. I bloody wish I did. Bloody wish you did. Anyway,
You're always
take care
away,
all.
Martin.
I bloody wish I was. You're always
taking-
away.
Taking the
Right,
pressure off
this
me.
is going to take you to LB's channel. Put this in the chat. He'll know exactly what you mean.
Which means the opposite, but go ahead.
Just put in LB wants to monopolise. He'll know what he means. So put that in the chat. Matt, LB wants to monopolise. Anyway, take care all. We'll see you on the space. If not, we'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. live on the Mancunian Wait for the Chancellor Waffle Show. Big up to Dash, Elliot, Sparkus, Rich, Allan, and Ed, who have joined us tonight. Take care all. And as always, up the Blues.
Big up.